In the headlines, drivers warn that their days of giving false information to traffic officers are over. Government provides cash and concessions to owners of 7 hotels, and teachers to help students adjust their attitude towards climate change. I'm Andrea V with the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. First up, the minister responsible for the police is warning officers against abusing their role by invading the privacy of civilians. National Security, Justice and Immigration Minister Reuben Blackmore wants the lawmen to strive to safeguard the integrity of their office. The minister spoke in the context of a newly launched drivers and automobile information system, which will allow the traffic division to use software on a tablet to check the status of a driver.
With development and advancement brings certain responsibility. And I do hope that the police officers to use the system have been through a proper process of orientation, and that the proper protocol for the usage of the system have been developed to mitigate against abuse.
Blackmore says he still expects good policing and patrolling of the streets, even if the new system is designed to make the work of traffic officers easier.
Yes, I appreciate that the information that may be obtained is public information. Your address, your insurance. But no attempt, therefore, should be made to invade on people's privacy. And that is why police officers have to be of the right spirit, because they have the authority that the ordinary citizen does not have, and the authority to retrieve information, doesn't matter what the nature of the information is, on someone, is very important.
Meantime, drivers are being reminded that with this new system, they cannot get away with giving false information during traffic checks. Constable Kenny Thomas explains that the driver system is linked to the Inland Revenue Division, the government arm responsible for registration of vehicles.
So whenever we stop a vehicle, all you do is ask the driver for the name and surname, and then a photo would come up of the driver. The driver's name, you have the date of birth, the license number, also a vehicle license, also the vehicle registration number.
Constable Thomas says they no longer need to stop a vehicle in order to ask the driver to produce particulars.
All you do is you ask the vehicle to pull over to the side, and you enter the vehicle's number, and then you will see whether the vehicle is licensed or not, but expired or not. And also in that you will find the vehicle with insurance particulars also.
At Thursday's ceremony, insurance companies donated tablets to the traffic division to enable its work in enforcing the drivers and automobile information system. Following a request by the Information and Communication Technology Unit, Nagico Insurance, Beacon Insurance, First Domestic Insurance, HHV Wichich, Agent for Lloyd's Insurance, and Beacon Insurance each presented a tablet to the head of the Traffic and Licensing Division. The ICT unit will install the software and the tablets for use by Traffic Division. Other top stories: the maximum of 7 storm-damaged hotel properties will be on the receiving end of government funds through the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association. On Wednesday, the tourism minister presented a check of $100,000 to the president of the DHTA for that purpose. Of the $1.2 billion in damage on the country post-Tropical Storm Erica, the tourism industry's loss amounted to over $48 million.
Of immediate importance to the Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal was the resultant effect on our hotel, guest houses, facilities, sites and attractions, which were generally near to or part of the river system, such as waterfalls, pools, trails, etc. In the tourism sector, we estimated that losses amounted to more than $48 million, $39 million which was suffered by the accommodation subsector. The government of Dominica, through the Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal, consulted with partners in the industry, especially the DHT, to identify some areas of assistance that was urgently needed. As a result, a list of areas were compiled and forwarded to the ministry. Based on this list, the ministry made requests of Cabinet for requisite funds to address the situation and to meet some of the needs identified from the consultation.
Tang says government has also approved concessions for hoteliers to import material and equipment for use in restoration works. Those concessions extended to hoteliers to replace vehicles affected by the August 2015 storm. DHTA President Gregor Nassif says while they encourage members to insure properties, insurance did not cover instances where there was destabilization on the site of the properties. He says that drove the DHTA to make an appeal to the authorities for support.
Those have approximately 60 rooms and 60 employees. It is a total of 7 properties that have been affected, really specifically to the destabilization of their sites. We have identified jointly with the ministry the 7 particular properties that we'll be focused on. I'd prefer not to name them now because it's not yet confirmed that all 7 are actually going to receive. We have asked them for the damage assessments. We're going through everything and we will make an appropriate allocation based on that.
On to Dominican teachers now, who have been urged to help students adjust their attitude towards global warming. Keynote speaker at the 13th Biennial Conference of the Dominica Association of Teachers says the impact of global warming is multidimensional and affects every sector of society.
One cannot deny the issues of global warming and climate change is an extremely complex one. It has multidimensional impacts and consists of multiple elements: science, ethical, economical, and political. The impacts are countless and diverse. They include glacier retreat, and more applicable to us, rising sea levels, coral bleaching, increased temperatures, disruption in seasonal patterns, increase in frequency and severity of extreme weather events, and changes in agricultural production, among others.
Correa says information is key in helping people to cope with the effects of global warming.
We must be cognizant of our environmental or cultural factors that may act as barriers to change. True impact will only be seen or achieved if we commit to changes on the individual levels. Then the effects of these actions will be rippled to the schools and the national level. But how can one commit to change with the existence of doubt and skepticism?
Correa suggests carpooling, investing in solar energy, reducing the use of styrofoam products, switching to LED lights, and tree planting as some of the many ways to help combat climate change.
Having mastered or at least attempted these actions and practices yourself, then as teachers and educators, some of you policymakers within the education system can affect change among the children, which are the future. The more information you have, the better decisions you can make. With more knowledge, the wiser you become, and the fruits of that investment may be in the form of better plans of action, modifications of habits and behaviors.
The Dominica Association of Teachers held its 13th Biennial Conference under the theme Impacting Behavioral Change to Combat Global Warming. On the agriculture scene, a training in good agricultural practice audit is expected to stimulate competition among local farmers and exporters. Officials of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Bureau of Standards spoke at the opening ceremony on Wednesday.
Cognizant of the growing trends in the international food trade, several government agencies have embarked on a number of national programs aimed at gearing the agricultural sector for these new and emerging changes. One of these initiatives is the development and implementation of a national farm certification program based on a national GAP protocol termed DOMGAP. DOMGAP, which is being benchmarked against global GAP, will allow for certification of fresh produce consumed locally and exported to the regional and international markets.
Royer says the ultimate goal is to enable Dominica's fresh food produce to become competitive through the adoption of innovative farming practices that are internationally accepted standards.
In addition to improving the yield and quality of the products, DOMGAP seeks to promote optimum utilization of resources such as water, chemical, pesticides, fertilizers, and eco-friendly agriculture, as well as to protect the health and safety of agricultural workers.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries outlined the government's role in this effort.
To provide technical support to farmers through extension activities on good agricultural practices, train farmers on pesticide use and management. Tabled in Parliament, the Fresh Produce Act provides funding for pack houses in Portsmouth and Roseau, and the Bureau of Standards, also a great collaborating partner, has implemented at least 11 pilot farm certification projects for a number of outputs and benefits to the agricultural sector.
Coming up, more commendation for the Dominica Association of Teachers. We'll tell you what for when we come back. Welcome back. A Martinique-based filmmaker has released a short documentary which showcases the history of sugar mills in the Caribbean.
The 40-minute documentary titled At the Time of Sugar Islands was produced in 4 languages: English, French, Portuguese, and Spanish, and features the sugar mills of the Caribbean during the era of slavery.
I think it is important to know the history of the Caribbean for young people and people of the Caribbean and in the world, because all my documentaries are nominated in different festivals, international film festival. For me, it's important to represent the different islands, Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, Dominica, Puerto Rico, all the time. I think it's important to speak, to present, to know the history, because it's similar in the Caribbean.
The documentary was shot in Dominica, Barbados, Martinique, and St. Kitts and Nevis. The film was nominated as a finalist in the 2016 New York Festival's World Best TV and Films. The Public Library and Cultural Division were among the institutions that received copies of the DVD. An agriculture competition has been launched to promote technologies and practices that facilitate climate change adaptation.
On Wednesday, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture, ICA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, partnered with Jeff Small Grants Program to launch the agriculture competition. The Climate Smart Regional Agriculture Competition, titled Stories from Farmers in the Eastern Caribbean, will be open to participants until the 27th of May. This competition seeks to harness best practices from farmers in their stories, which will be told across the region and adapted by farmers and fishers.
As a response to climate change, Caribbean countries are actively seeking to develop agricultural production systems that are resilient to climate-related risks and stressors and make efficient use of the limited natural resource available. In this regard, efforts are made to develop, identify, promote, and disseminate innovative farming systems, farm technologies, strategies, and measures that will help build resilience and increase the productivity and viability of the agricultural sector in the region.
The competition is open to any organization or organized group working in agriculture in the Eastern Caribbean. This includes farmers groups, organizations, agro-processors, forage clubs, educational institutions, and NGOs.
Entries should focus on the resilience aspect of the story whilst indicating benefits for the productivity. Contribution to mitigation, when applicable, should be documented as well. However, government ministries of agriculture, international organizations, whether for profit or non-profit, and their employees are not eligible to participate.
Submission guidelines are available on the ICA websites.
The Dominica Association of Teachers has been commended for its role in combating the effects of global warming. Secretary-Treasurer of the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, WAWU, says the trade union movement is on board with helping to combat the effects of climate change.
We realize that your union always select a theme that is both interesting and challenging. One could always think, or for that matter say, that the question of global warming and its control is indeed the responsibility of governments, since they are the ones to formulate the strategies to reduce and or to combat the incident of global warming. We in the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, and indeed the private sector unions, join your union in accepting that we in the trade union movement have a fundamental role to play in combating global warming.
The DAT's 13th Biennial Conference was held on Wednesday under the theme, Impacting Behavioral Change to Combat Global Warming.
Your association, in particular, have a crucial role to play, since you, as teachers who eventually mold the minds of the youth, our future leaders, must inculcate in their minds responsible behavior, which include, among others, addressing the theme that you have selected. Your union, the Dominica Association of Teachers, more than any other institution or organization in Dominica, can influence change in behavior which could contribute towards the reduced incidence of factors that negatively impact global warming.
And Celia Nicholas has retained her position as president of the DAT. The DAT held its general elections during its 13th Biennial Conference on Wednesday. The rest of the executive reads: Julian Benjamin, first vice president; Royet Riley, second vice president; Francis John Lewis, general secretary; Vania Martin, assistant general secretary; Jerry Copel, treasurer; Mervyn Alexander, assistant treasurer; Juanita Carbon, public relations officer; and Rosamond Roll and Marcus Blondell as the two trustees. That's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
Hello everyone, and here are your sports highlights. First up in sports, a nail-biting semi-final had cricket fans tuned in to the exciting match between West Indies and India on Thursday, where West Indies won by 7 wickets. India's lead of 192 for 2 seemed intimidating to the West Indies as Virat Kohli, 89 not out, and Rohit Sharma, 43, and A. Rahane, 40 set the pace for the match. Renowned T20 boss Chris Gayle was out on 5 runs. However, West Indies fought back as Lendl Simmons, 83 not out, and Johnson Charles, 52, helped West Indies secure their spot in the final. West Indies won the semi-final with 196 for 3 and will face England on Sunday for the final of the World T20. Meantime, at the Marpin's main office, some of the customers were excited about the Windies win. Take a look. Meantime, in the women's category, West Indies registered a 6-run win against New Zealand in their second semi-final game on Thursday. West Indies, first at the crease, were 143 for 6. Brittany Cooper top scored with 61. West Indies captain Stephanie Taylor supported with 25 and Deandra Doughton 20. Sophie Devine took 4 for 22. New Zealand in reply were 137 for 8. Sarah McGlashan scored the most for the Zealanders, adding 38 from 30 balls. Stephanie Taylor picked up 3 for 26 for West Indies. On the football scene, the All-Ireland League resumes this weekend. Gerald George has details.
On Friday, South City Stars will come up against Andy Williams Spartans at the Pori playing field at 5 p.m., while in a doubleheader at the Newtown playing field, Asian Angels will battle Delton United at 5 p.m., to be followed by Goodwill All-Stars versus Fokole Classics at 7 p.m. On Saturday, East Central Young Boys will come up against Dubla Football Club at the Benjamin Park at 4 p.m.
Still in football, head coach of the national women's team, Stanton Seraphine, believes that footballers should be more consistent in training as they gear up for the Windward Islands tournament in May. Seraphine says thus far the player turnout could be better.
A lot of these young ladies, they have been playing football for a while now, and we just hope that, the ladies really can start coming out for training, because I think that is one of our problems right now, the inconsistent of the young ladies turning out for training. Our numbers right now are a bit low. Usually we have about 15 on average per session, and seeing that we call up about 30 ladies for training, it's a bit disappointing.
The coach says there is work to be done, but is confident the women have a fighting chance. Dominica placed second in this last year's competition.
Honestly, there's still a lot of work to be done. Where we are right now, I mean, at that stage, knowing that we still have about a month and a half, we are really confident that by the time the tournament comes along, that we'll be okay. We know the areas that we are lacking right now. We know even fitness is a key area which we know we have to work on for the next month and a half. And also the ladies' touches, the movement of the ball, and so on. So we know the areas that we have to keep working on, but we are confident that the group we have there, they're at a base, they're at a level where we can take them and move them forward.
Seraphine says Dominica might call on their foreign-based players to assist the national team.
We're also looking at some of our foreign-based players. Every year, whenever we pass in this tournament, so even the World Cup qualifiers, we usually bring a few of about 3 or 4 of our foreign-based players to come in. So we hope that they come in this year, and they can really help to, boost the squad, and motivate some of the local players. We usually look at the Bertrand girls. They are good players. They have played at the school level, college level, and some of them even at club levels, professional and semi-professional. So we know that when they come down, they're at a higher level than our girls down here. And we know that, if our girls can learn a few things from them, that again will just boost, their confidence and everything. And hopefully that can give the team a lift.
The tournament runs from May 16 to 22. In basketball, a mere 10 points separated a winning Old School from a losing Elvis Welding Green Hornets in Wednesday's version of the 2016 Flow Dominica Amateur Basketball Association's National League. For Hornets, Jay Collier scored 34 with 7 rebounds and 1 assist. For Old School, Levi Barron scored 33 with 9 rebounds and 2 assists. The match ended 71-61 in favor of Old School. The second game between Prowlers and Crossovers was washed out by rain in the third quarter. However, Prowlers defeated Crossovers 42-40. Kesley Guy scored 8 for Crossovers, while Julian Isles had 14 for Prowlers. Moving on to netball, New India Assurance Celtic reminded the Dominica Under-23 team why they are defending champions when they won the game 45-42 on Wednesday. The Big Edge Financial Express League saw some closely contended action at the Dominica Grammar School hard court. Marcia Gustav shot and scored 26 from 34 attempts, and Elizabeth Joseph 16 from 18 to help put Celtic in the lead. A tall Chanel St. Rose underneath the netball pole spelled trouble for Celtics as she got 37 from 51 tries for the Under-23 team. However, the Celtics' defense was determined and limited the number of balls handed to St. Rose, helping them secure the win. Finally, in sports, the Kubuli Chebesau three-handed domino league had 3 games played Wednesday night. In Game 1, Remix top scored with 88 dose 3 points, Bay Boys scored 68 dose 2 points, and Bolos in third with 65 dose 1 point. In the second game, Homeboys ended with 77 dose 3 points, Martian 69 dose 2 points, and Kings Hill Power 65 dose 1 point. The final game had Rabbit Hole with 70 dose 3 points, Strikers 68 dose 2 points, and 007 65 dose 1 point. That's all the sports for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
Your weather report is next.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am your presenter, Annie Corrette Joseph. We start off by taking a look at some earlier satellite imagery, and what it showed is this area of convection associated with a trough system. Visible satellite imagery showed multi-layered clouds associated with the trough system. Radar imagery indicated some showers across the islands. The Douglas Charles Airport recorded about 15 millimeters of rainfall, while at Canefield 9 millimeters was recorded. Conditions for tonight: cloudy to overcast at times with scattered showers and the possibility of some isolated thunderstorms. These conditions are expected to continue into tomorrow. Sea conditions: moderate in open water with waves peaking near 8 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise some caution. A trough system will maintain generally cloudy skies with scattered showers through to Sunday, with the possibility of some isolated thunderstorms on Friday and Saturday. However, an improvement in conditions can be expected by Sunday afternoon. Persons in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks are advised to exercise some caution. And across the region, the trough system will maintain generally cloudy skies with scattered showers and the possibility of isolated thunderstorms. On the international scene, some thunderstorm expected in New York, partly cloudy skies in Miami, London, Caracas, and Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6 a.m. and set at 6:18 p.m. For updated information, visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and join us next time. Good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Drivers warned that their days of giving false information to traffic officers are over. Government provides cash and concessions to owners of 7 hotels damaged by Tropical Storm Erica. And teachers to help students adjust their attitude towards climate change. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also watch our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea V, and to all our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us next time.